Hello, and welcome to Book of the Mouse Club, episode 97, Tuesday, December 12th, 2023.
Morning, monsieur.
Where are you off to?
The bookshop. I just finished the most wonderful story about a beanstalk and an ogre and...
That's nice. Marie! The baguettes! Hurry up!
I'm sorry, but how can one possibly pay attention to a book with no pictures in it?
My dear child, there are a great many good books in this world without pictures.
I almost bounced clear out of the book. Some bouncing, huh?
Come home or make myself known.
J. Thaddeus Turtle, Esquire. Have you never met him? You will find his story in this delightful little book, The Wind and the Willows.
I've come to return the book I borrowed.
Finished already?
Oh, I couldn't put it down. Have you got anything new?
Welcome back. I'm your host, Courtney, and I am joined, as always, by the maleficent to my Cruella, my lovely co-host, Emily.
Hey, Courtney, and hey, listeners, we've made it to the end of another season.
Yeah, time has flown by. Lots of fun things for each of us this year, and now we're here to spread some Christmas cheer. Or are we?
So, Courtney, we're going to be talking about a children's book, and this is a genre that we haven't covered in almost 5 years. So if you have been listening with us this whole time, you might remember our little Golden Books episode back in season 1 of Book of the Mouse Club. But if you're new to listening with us, joined us recently, this might be a new genre for you that we haven't really talked much about. Do you have a favorite children's book from growing up, like a picture book?
Yeah, I think that's an important distinction because certainly we've covered things for younger readers like Mary Poppins, The Wind and the Willows, and Winnie the Pooh, which
Peter Pan.
Yes, had illustrations in them, but this is truly your like shorter, very easy. Like I picture you reading this to a child. I read it to you as a fun little thing. So fun to go back to our roots, to one of our very episodes of the Little Golden Books. Little Golden Books, of course, were definitely a favorite of mine to answer your question. But outside the realm of Disney, I really liked Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. Like that one just had a good rhythm to it. And I loved Madeline. How about you?
Oh, Madeline was a good one. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom was always great, like in the classroom, because they would get everyone to like sing the chorus, or like you thought of it as a chorus because it was so sing-songy. So I liked that one more so in the classroom than I did actually at home, because my mom did read it to me, but I was like, not the same effect.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big fan of The Little Engine That Could.
Okay.
I loved that book. I think it was the illustrations for me. I loved how much color there was, and the pictures of like the toys and the dolls and the candy, and like it had this just very vibrant, and that's one of my favorite books that I love to give now to my friends who are having kids. So that's been fun revisiting picture books now that we're in this new stage of life, and like giving them as gifts. That like I have fun now going to Target and like, what book do I want to give?
Do you give them often, or like is there a certain one that you're apt to give? I know this is not for children, but I feel like often with graduation, like Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss is a common one.
Yeah, I did give a few people All the Places You'll Go. I am a big fan of Dr. Seuss. Probably if I had to pick a picture book, if we count Dr. Seuss as picture books, I think you do.
I think so.
They have more words, I think, sometimes than the average.
Higher maybe reading level.
Right. Like I'm not giving a lot of my friends are having kids. So I feel like I'm back in the zone of going to the children's section, which has been really fun. But like I'm not giving Dr. Seuss to my friends' kids. Most of my friends' kids are still under 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like they're going Dr. Seuss yet. They're still big fans of like board books, not actual pages.
Oh, the little ones. Yeah.
Although Dr. Seuss Go Dog Go is a solid, like younger, but I'm not breaking out Green Eggs and Ham, Fox and Socks just yet. So those, but yeah, I love giving them as gifts, and it's been fun getting to revisit them for me. And I usually give The Little Engine That Could, although now I'm a big fan of Good Night Construction Site.
I don't know that one.
It's so fun. It's all the different construction vehicles and like equipment, and it's like think Goodnight Moon, but make it construction site.
I was gonna say I'm getting Goodnight Moon from that. I've seen quite a few different variations on Goodnight Moon, like Goodnight Orlando. Like it seems
those are really fun, and it's
very
cool
personal.
to give gifts like that too, where like, yeah, I can give you this gift. One of my friends who lives in New York, she's been giving a lot of our mutual friends who are having kids good night, New York.
Oh, cute.
And so having that tie, like this came from Aunt Jessica because she lives in New York, like that's a really cool thing you can do.
I think
And
that's sweet.
yeah, and giving gifts is so fun because that's now also something that my friends are doing with their kids, and they love getting books because now they're spending that time together.
I'm not quite at that stage. Like I just haven't had as many friends have kids. And I feel like living in Orlando and being so close to Disney, I'm apt to be like, here's your first Mickey Mouse plush. Like that.
No, that's such a great thing too.
My contribution. But I do think picture books can make a great gift for the holiday season. And that's why we thought it would be fun to do this one. It caught my eye on Shop Disney, and it's called How the Villains Ruined Christmas. And I was like, we haven't done a picture book in a while, but I want to know how the villains ruined Christmas. But I didn't feel like each of us should have to buy it because they can be a little pricey. So literally, listeners, the other night Emily and I sat on Zoom and we had story time, and I read it to her like the librarian that I always dreamed that I would become.
You did really good. You had teacher vibe. Like she even though we weren't recording, she had the book open towards me the whole time she was reading, even though she could have just read and then showed me the picture. But no, she had it open the whole time. We had voices.
Expression, yes.
Yeah, there were strategic pauses, like the commas were pronounced.
Thank you. I was raised by two teachers who read to me a lot as a child. They have reminded me that when I was a kid, like you might threaten like, oh, we're going to take away the TV, or, you're going to have to put your Barbies away if you're not listening. My threatening punishment was you're not going to get a bedtime story. And that worked. And I would behave. So I think they instilled that performative essence in me for reading aloud with expression. And I have cherished memories of that. So I was glad to share them with you.
So let's talk about this book. A little bit of background author info. Thank you to the inside cover of this book that actually provided a lot of information. And then I went out and found more from our author and illustrator from their own web pages, which are linked in our show notes. So the book Disney Villains, How the Villains Ruined Christmas is copyright 2022, Disney Enterprises Incorporated Publishing by Disney Press, which is an imprint of Buena Vista Books. As we've learned on the show, there's so many aspects to Disney books and Disney publishing. This story is written by Serna Valentino, a New York Times bestselling author of the Disney Villain series. She's also the author of a standalone book titled Raising the Horseman for Disney Books, and also authored 2 comic series called Gloom Cookie and Nightmares and Fairy Tales. Dark fairy tales and magical worlds are certainly her favorite genre. And while she has written 11 novels for Disney Books, How the Villains Ruined Christmas is her first picture book. And no children's picture book is complete without illustrations. Joey Chou is a Taiwanese-American artist who has worked in art and design for the last 10 years. He is currently working for Netflix Animation, but has also worked for studios such as Disney, Nickelodeon, DreamWorks, Warner Brothers, Cartoon Network, Paramount, Sony, and that's just to name a few. Pretty much any streaming platform you have, he's been on it.
Wow.
In addition to animation, he's also a children's book illustrator and also a popular Disney artist. So if you've gone to Disney's Festival of the Arts at Epcot or visited the Co-op in Disney Springs or Disney Art in downtown Disney, in Disneyland, you may recognize his work from Disney Wonderground Gallery. He also has murals around the Disney resorts, like the Contemporary Resort in Walt Disney World, as part of the new redesign of that resort.
I didn't know that was him, but now I
the
absolutely
murals
see
in
it with
the
goat.
murals in the
like the downstairs
the new lobby area,
not the Mary Blair.
Right. But they fit in beautifully.
Oh yeah,
with that aesthetic.
Now that you say that, I'm like, how did I not recognize that?
And he also has murals now on the Disney Wish for Disney Cruise Line. So on topic of Mary Blair, he credits on his website his graphic sense of style is influenced by illustrators from the 60s, such as Mary Blair, Rosalick Sasek, Alice and Martin, Provenson, and Ezra Jack Keats.
Yeah, I can see Ezra Jack Keats for sure. The little snow day book from our childhood.
Yeah, which
flat element style.
Yeah, so if you are unfamiliar maybe with his name, I guarantee you, especially fans of Disney, probably most of our listeners, if you go check out his website, again, that I have linked in the show notes, you will recognize his art immediately. It's also been parts of a lot of pins and park merchandise, lots of prints, especially for Festival of the Arts. So I think a lot of that will jog your memory, and it's been really fun to see him now in a book.
Yeah, what were your impressions of the book?
It was very cute. I think we don't get a lot of Christmas stories where you kind of get some villainy. I feel like we only talk about the Grinch, maybe.
Yes.
Or at least in mainstream media. I know every culture has their own stories, like Krampus, but I'm not overly familiar in my childhood with that. So I thought that was fun to get a new take where we have some other villains who want to destroy Christmas. So I thought that was really fun and a fun concept, and especially from this author stemming from her background of writing the villains series for Disney books. I thought that was a cool tie-in that maybe if you're a fan of those books, now you can maybe bring a children's version of that to your kids until they're ready to read.
Yeah, we had a listener reach out because we always like to preview what's next and express their excitement for Serena Valentino being the author of this. So yay! I was not as familiar with her work, really just the title. I feel like I came across it in the summer and was like, hey, I know this is a few months away, but this sounds like a cute book and Christmas is a busy time of year. So this would be a nice one to squeeze in. So my first impressions were that it was absolutely adorable, not just for its illustrations, but its writing as well.
And in the writing, you and I had the same thought as she's reading to me that like the villains are going to band together to ruin Christmas. We were immediately like, oh my gosh, this is Fantasia vibes or Phantasmic vibes, where they try to come together to wreck Mickey's Nightmare. They're trying to come together to wreck Christmas. And it has a lot of the same villains that partner together. Like
Yes.
Ursula, Cruella, Maleficent, Hades, Evil Queen, like they're all
I
in
think
there.
the only one who's not really in the Walt Disney World Phantasmic that you and I are most familiar with is Captain Hook, he's in the book, but I don't know that Captain Hook has a presence in our Phantasmic. I know he was in Disneyland's
Until
and
the
is
change.
coming back though. They just announced that the Peter Pan section will be coming back, so I can only imagine that would include Captain Hook. But yeah, everybody else is definitely in Phantasmic, though they don't quite come together. Like I feel like they don't really like hatch a plan or anything. It's more just each villain has their own motivations, which we'll get into.
But of course, the first thing that caught our eye was the illustrations. They're just absolutely beautiful. And I know you've been excited about Joey Chou's work on the Disney Cruise Line.
Yeah, I had a chance to sail aboard the Disney Wish in 2022, and I recommend, even if you're sailing without kids, like if you don't have them, when you board the ship and at select times, the various kids clubs are available for all guests to explore in kind of an open house or an open mouse, if you will. And we are all kids at heart, so I highly encourage those who may not have kids to walk around and immerse themselves in that. And even though I don't have any children, I was like, I want to see it all. This is Disney's brand new ship, and his illustration and mural in the nursery are absolutely adorable. It's giving Small World, which I found out he also illustrated a Small World book for Disney. And I'm like, yeah, that checks out. But picture your favorite Disney characters like shrunk down in the style of It's a Small World. Just beautiful illustrations and murals, and I can't believe I did not make the connection regarding the contemporary, but as I said before, I see it now. So fun there with the cruise line for sure.
Yeah, and we definitely got the Small World vibes. The dwarves, especially to me, really stood out. Maybe because there were so many of them standing together that like I got the Small World doll vibe, but they're so
even
adorable.
Just the human children, like the non-Disney characters, like we see real families and kids, like they stylistically remind me a lot of Small World dolls. I think it's just they have big heads and like
big heads, big eyes, very rounded shapes, no hard edges.
And his use of color really reminds me of Mary Blair.
Very bright, vibrant. And maybe colors together that you wouldn't have necessarily picked, but make total sense when you see it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he will debut at the Festival of the Arts next year, because that is my favorite festival at Epcot.
So let's talk about this plot. So overall, the story is about how the villains, we said loosely, join together to ruin Christmas, but they each have their own reasons for disliking Christmas.
Yeah, so we have Maleficent, who, much like in Sleeping Beauty, is upset because she didn't get an invitation to the kingdom Christmas party. You think they would have like learned their lesson the first time around. Hades, as usual, is upset because Hercules is the center of attention. Hercules is like decorating a tree and everything for the people in his
like
area.
rubbing in his face that he lost.
Yeah. Hook is annoyed by the antics of the Lost Boys. So everything I would say feels very authentic to the stories we already know about these villains. The evil queen, it's really just her vanity. Christmas is getting a lot of attention, and no one in the kingdom is paying attention to her. So she's just literally jealous of Christmas. Ursula we'll get into, but she's lonely and she wants to be queen of the ocean, and King Triton has his whole family for Christmas. And then Cruella is upset by Roger's song. Like, she is still dwelling on the Cruella de Vil song, and she doesn't have her fur coat. So everything, in my opinion, felt authentic to these characters. How about you?
I thought so too, and I thought that was a good way that if you're reading this to your kid, that they've seen these films, those are things that are easily recognizable. They know these characters, and in a way that allowed the story to flow very easily without a lot of detail, because it is relying on you to kind of know these characters already.
Well, who would you say has the most valid reason to dislike Christmas out of the villains?
I think I'm going to go Maleficent, because to me, the other ones like Hades, Hook, or maybe Hook would be second place, but like Hades, Evil Queen, Ursula, it's very more selfish reasons of why they don't like Christmas. Like, they just want attention. Whereas Maleficent being snubbed, not invited to the party. And I've seen a lot of things before where people like really analyze the medieval culture of like why it's such a big deal in the film that she doesn't get an invitation, to which we can be like, girl, get over it. You didn't get invited to a party. But etiquette of the time period and the world she lives in, you like her or not, royalty gets invited. And this is a snub to her, and an insult to her station, to her kingdom, to her as a fairy. So I think like all of those things that we've seen Disney really flesh out, especially from her character in the extended live action films, like I see it a little bit more. Now, is it a little still dramatic? Yes. But I think out of all of the others, wanting to be part of it and being told you can't sit with us, I feel like is a little bit more like, you're keeping me out and I want to be there. Whereas the others, like, I don't want, like Hook, I don't want to deal with these children. Very different to me.
Ursula's definitely was the weakest to me. I was like, I don't think this has anything to do with Christmas. Like, girl, we know you want to be queen. Like, that was the whole movie. It's just that they're making merry, and I was like, I'm sorry, you're the one who put yourself in your little cave. Like, go hang out with Flotsam and Jetsam. I don't know. I think there's a suspension of disbelief here because several of these villains perish in their films. So we just have to accept that maybe it's just
they're all in different parts of their story
in their time, right? Because Cruella, the song, has already been written, and I don't know that I brought this up when we were reading it to each other, and I was trying to show you the illustrations, but it's weird because like Hercules is depicted in Hades' portion, the Lost Boys, but Sleeping Beauty or Aurora doesn't show up in the Maleficent illustrations. Like, we were thinking, oh, is this maybe like Aurora was born on Christmas? But no, because Prince Philip is like absolutely, Prince Philip at the age of the end of the movie, not a boy. Prince
Philip.
Yeah, so it's interesting to me like who gets a cameo in this and who doesn't.
Although I did think it was interesting, other than I guess like Prince Philip shows up, but yeah, Evil Queen, Maleficent, they're the stories that have princesses, and neither princess
you're right
is in there. But maybe that's intentional. Keeps it villain focused versus princess focused.
Yeah.
Because they have their own franchise. They are two different things.
That was
Disney villains and Disney princesses.
Well, okay, but here on the Ursula page that our listeners cannot see, but I'm flipping through, that's definitely Ariel. So now I don't know.
I recognized more of the sisters. I didn't really tune into
that is red hair and a green tail and a little purple shells. So I'm gonna say that
Maybe Ursula's story is taking
Ariel.
place before Ariel goes to her for legs.
Definitely has to, given what happens to Ursula. I mean, oh look, I've been impaled.
So we agree Ursula's at the bottom of the list. Who would you say is most valid?
I mean, look, I'm a Cruella girly, and I feel like Roger's liable for slander with that song. So she hot take. She has a right to be upset. I don't think that gives her a right to want to murder puppies. But that's not what she tries to do in this book. She actually disguises herself as Santa Claus, which was fun. So we got to see her in a luxurious, non-spotted Santa-esque fur coat.
You know, you make a point. Maybe Roger made like a Christmas version of his song. Like, you know, how some people redo
Oh, yes.
like a parody song, but a Christmas version of Cruella de Vil. I wonder what that would be.
Now I want that. And Selena Gomez can cover it just like she did on
Absolutely.
Disney Mania volume. Whatever.
Miss
Throw
Disney
back
Mania.
there.
If anyone at Disney's listening, you need to add Disney Mania 1 and 2 to Spotify and Apple Music platforms so that we can listen to it and enjoy it.
I think like only Disney Mania 5 or something random is.
Yeah, it's like 4, 5, and 6 are on there.
I want the OGs. I would like to take a moment to talk about the writing style of this. And that is that in, you know, not all picture books, but most picture books have a nice, fun rhyming scheme. And that is absolutely present here, which was a delight to read aloud to you. Very Dr. Seuss-esque in that regard. And I think Madeline rhymes, right?
Yeah.
That's my favorite, but it's been a long time since I picked up Madeline.
Yeah. What was it? In an old wooden house that was covered in vines lived 12 little girls in 2 straight lines.
The smallest one was Madeline.
Was Madeline.
There were some stretch rhymes, though. I'm trying to find the one. It was with mirror. Something was a little, I was like, oh, that one was
And I think we often don't give credit to how hard it is to write a children's book, because when you look at it, you're like, oh, it's short, some rhyming, but to come up with rhymes, to have a succinct story that is that concise for an age group that can follow along with that type of attention span, it's actually a lot harder than you think. Like, I often give my students like a popular project is like turn a class concept you've learned into a children's book to explain it. And it's really hard to do, to tell students like, you have 5 pages to explain to me like in my class we look at like the Constitution or different parts of, like, you have make a children's book about Congress. That's actually incredibly hard to do, or it feels like it should be easy, like simple sentences. But then I'm like, you didn't include anything about this or this. And it's really hard to figure out, how do I make this simplistic enough to understand, but that you have a thorough understanding and a through line for the story.
And
it's
shout
really
out
difficult.
To our friend Jerry at Buena Vista University, because he does a similar task with his media studies students. And you and I had the opportunity to judge the children's books that his college students wrote as well. And like, we really were like, you know, you gotta sit here, unpack it. Like, what are we grading this on, or, you know, scoring, ranking, so to speak. I did find the one line that
what'd you find?
It was, the queen's pretty face twisted into a sneer as she looked with disgust into her magic mirror. I think I just say mirror, like,
instead of like mirror.
And then,
like, I say mirror.
Yeah, water. This is our Baltimore and Philadelphia coming out. They're very similar. But that one I was like, oh nope, that's not quite how I would say
Well, it's like, you know, cheeses for us Mises. You have to figure out how to get those words to work.
I will allow the stretch for cheeses for us Mises, the best part of the Muppet Christmas Carol.
So that was really fun. And they had such unique ways of, they're trying to like end Christmas and ruin it, but it doesn't really work. So that was kind of interesting to see how she had that workaround. I think in this one, Cruella's was my favorite, where you said she tried to sneak in as Santa to like steal the puppies, and then George Hasper.
I think she's stealing the puppies. Like, it wasn't clear.
But Jasper and Horace are supposed to be like the distraction, so they're like, we're gonna sing carols at the door, and that'll keep them by the door. But then the puppies ended up loving the carols, and it turned into this like thing where they're like, Cruella's Santa, and everyone was happy. And it's really cute to see how they're foiled in very child fun ways.
I am reading way too much into the timeline now as I'm poring over this book, because it says Cruella sat wickedly inside Hell Hall, still bitter over her unfortunate downfall. The holidays reminded her of plans gone wrong, and she was still offended by Roger's song. Like, plans gone wrong, that all just feels like the end of her movie. So I don't know, but yeah, it doesn't say that she's stealing the puppies again, though. It's just that she like snuck into their house while they're singing, but then that gets spoiled because the puppies are just like slobbering and loving all over her.
Or like Hook tries to throw all the Lost Boys presents into the sea, and then they end up like, cool, let's go scuba diving. And they're like, this is a great day.
It's a scavenger hunt. And Hades sets the tree on fire that Hercules was like decorating, but then they're like, oh, we're gonna roast marshmallows now. Which I don't know if that's like a Christmas thing, but I was like, you know what? You make your own fun. You do you, Hercules.
So by the end, as per usual, they're all foiled in their plans. And the closing page is where we see them all come together, where they're all kind of doing their own silly holiday traditions. But if they're going to spend the holidays together, what kind of traditions do you think villains would have?
Yeah, I want to kind of share what they're doing. It looks like they're in some kind of manor. Maybe it's Hell Hall.
Maybe Hell Hall.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Cruella would host. I see.
Cruella is outside the window and she's painting everything in the snow with black spots. The evil queen from Snow White is putting coal into their stockings. Maleficent is decorating a briar patch with some candles, while Ursula trims the actual tree with like fish skeletons. Hook just looks like he's jousting no one in particular. he's just doing his own thing. And Hades has set a snowman on fire and it's melting. So it's cute to finally see them all come together in that regard and celebrate Christmas in their own way. In terms of traditions, I think they would have an absolutely lit white elephant gift exchange.
Oh, that would be cool.
For, I don't know, other people call it different things, but that's where, if you've been to a party where everybody brings a present, it can be a gag gift, it can be like a set dollar amount, but that's where you steal like names come out of a hat and you can like go to the tree and pick a gift or steal somebody's gift, and it can get really competitive, and I would absolutely see all of them thriving in that environment.
That is the thing we do in my family. My dad's family doesn't get together very often. So when we do, because we're so big, we do a white elephant. We don't do, or we call it Pollyanna, referencing our Pollyanna episode.
There we go.
We call it Pollyanna, but we have a wrapping contest. That's part of it. So we pick a theme. Like one year, it was the Winter Olympics year. So it was, you had to wrap something winter, like Olympics themed. And like my cousin wrapped his gift in a styrofoam pool that he sculpted that had water in it. It was all sorts of things. Mine was the most recent one we did. I made mine in a COVID test box. Like I printed out like labels to make it into it looked like a COVID test box, or we get really into it. And so there's a prize for best wrapped. So we do like a vote on best wrapped, but it really conceals the gift. So you have like no clue.
Idea, yeah.
And because like weight, you can't even decide like, is this a heavy gift or not? Because
it could be a gift card is like, yeah.
But it could just be all the stuff. So like, it's really hard to tell. And we do multiple rounds. So not only like, can you steal while it's wrapped, but then you can steal when it's unwrapped. And we let that go until the last person's number. So like we had a round go once for like an hour and a half. And we at some point, like we just let it go into mayhem. And it was so much fun. It stresses some people out, but this is something my family is very trained in doing in our tradition. So it gets intense. But I could see the villains definitely doing that and all bringing something villainy. I don't know.
Well, not even just their gifts, but just how cutthroat it would absolutely get, like when it comes to stealing presents and things that other people might want.
Changing the rules on the spot.
Yeah. Do you think were there any traditions that came to mind for you?
I mean, we're going to take this maybe a little adult, but I feel like they would do a lot of cocktails. I feel like they'd have a pretty solid bar scene.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I would be weary of like an Appletini from the Evil Queen, though.
Absolutely. I mean, like pour your own drink, like, bar rules. Don't drink something you didn't see made. But I feel like that would be pretty solid. Like, I think they would have a decent spread. Like, for as villainous as they can be, I think they all want the finer things. They're gonna
Yes.
show up with food, and it's gonna be well catered.
Nice potluck, maybe. Still, don't eat anything from the evil queen.
Yeah.
If it's apple, don't touch it.
Which in the story, her potion ended up not working. It ended up being
Yes.
was it an unhappy potion?
It was a happy potion. She got the bottles mixed up, which is very Yzma. And on that note, I wish Yzma had been a part
Oh
of
my gosh,
this.
could you imagine?
Missed
What villains?
opportunity.
Any other villains we wish were in there? Yzma is a good one.
Yzma came to mind. Deep cut, but like bowler hat guy from Ethan
Ooh.
Robinson's. I just feel like he's like so down on himself, and sometimes people go through that at Christmas. So there would have been like an interesting angle to take there.
I think he would be the villain that the villains would look at him and be like, not villain enough.
Yeah, that would.
But they
be
might
fun to
encourage
take.
him to fulfill his destiny.
Look, we already got a sequel ready to go. Definitely Yzma though,
Fantastic.
because she's just an agent of chaos, and like Kronk by default.
Kronk would be the caterer. Kronk
Yes,
would bring the
his
spread.
spinach puffs.
He would bring the food.
I'm down for that. Now I already want a sequel. But as far as this story goes, would you say that there's a moral to it?
I don't know if there's a really hard, like a set moral that is really easy to see. I think the thing I took away from it is even just this is a time of year where you make the best of maybe bad things that happen. Like we saw everyone find a silver lining in the problems, the chaos that the villains cause. But even those, like the villains who dislike the season, maybe can find something to come together to end the year on a high note.
Yeah, I mean, it spells it out a bit at the end here. It says, "May this be a lesson to villains far and near. Christmas isn't a time for causing fear. Holiday spirit cannot be diminished, though I have an inkling our friends aren't quite finished. They are villains, dear readers. This is abundantly true. And what else is a villain expected to do?" One, that leads me to believe we could get a sequel. But two, I think, at the heart of it is the message of Christmas and holiday spirit. And, it's not about what's underneath your tree or all the material things that go along with Christmas. It's about the joy that we find in Christmas, which makes me think a lot of the Grinch. As we were reading this, we're like, it's giving Grinch, it's giving Phantasmic,
it's giving Small World.
It's giving Small World.
Somehow the three of them combined
into this delightful book.
Yeah, and maybe by the end with that last picture that there's no wrong way to celebrate the season. Do the things that make you happy. If it's coal in a stocking, because hey, now Hades gets to heat it up and have a warm fireplace.
There you go.
Great. If that's using ornaments that are non-traditional, like fish skeletons, do you enjoy the season the way you want to enjoy the season? And maybe they found a way to get around their woes. But thinking about our Grinch, last question, and this was like, ironically, it's our last question, but it's the first question I thought of when we were reading this. Who do you think is worse for ruining Christmas? The Disney villains or the Grinch?
It's the Grinch. 100%. Are you in agreement or no?
No.
Okay, here we go.
For once, listeners, the moment you love when we're not in the same
We
side.
have not aligned. Okay, the Grinch stole the presents from an entire town in one night. I feel like what the villains have done here is just very surface level. Like, Hook didn't steal the presents, he just hid them, and then they turned it into a scavenger hunt. The evil plan, or the evil queen, is not good at evil plans. She poisoned people with a happiness potion, so they were happy. Like, nothing really bad happens, and I think the lesson is the same, but like the Grinch straight up stole everything from a town. I don't know. That seems more dastardly and villainous to me.
So to me, though, the Grinch has a redeeming arc. He does return the things, he apologizes, and he learns the lesson of Christmas.
Okay.
But also the intention on ruining Christmas. He does this at a time. He breaks and enters. There is a lot of breaking and entering.
Yeah.
I actually do a whole lesson of this in my class where we analyze the Grinch for like laws and rights that are violated. But he never, other than Cindy Lou who gets out of bed, he does no interaction at all with the people. He's intended on stealing their stuff, but not hurting the Who's.
Okay.
maybe emotionally hurting them, but not actually hurting them. Whereas the evil queen, yes, she ended up making a happy potion, but that was not her intent. She was full on, I'm going to actually harm the dwarves.
She wasn't trying to
Cruella,
kill them, though. I mean, not that the Grinch is trying to kill them.
but she was actually like, I'm going to poison them with an unhappy potion. Like, you're messing with the people more than the stuff. Not that either of them are in the right, but I feel like the villains, if they had been successful, would have been way worse.
But I feel like the Grinch has to have worse things that he does in order to have that redemption arc. Like, we don't get a redemption arc here because they're just like, well, those plans didn't work, but the Grinch is a changed man. But you asked me who is worse for ruining Christmas, and I think he did more to actually have an impact.
But the Who's would also argue he didn't ruin Christmas because Hahu Horis Dahu Dores. They end up singing anyway, and the spirit of Christmas is still alive and well. So did he actually ruin Christmas? Neither of them, I think, did.
No, that is the moral. We just
you can't ruin Christmas.
I don't know. I'm a fan of the Grinch.
I am too. I absolutely love the Grinch.
I like the Jim Carrey. I haven't seen the animated one that they did in 2018. The new,
it's actually pretty solid.
And
I'm really happy that they didn't try to repeat similar stories.
It's a little different.
Yeah, like the 60s cartoon, that's very true just to the book. Whereas the Jim Carrey version and then the Benedict Cumberbatch animated version, they're all very uniquely their own stories, which I really like, while staying true to the Grinch story of the book at the same time.
You know what I learned recently about the Grinch? He was not green until the animated special, like in the 60s.
In the book, it's all black and white and red.
It's just black and white, and he has like pink eyes. And I just, when I think Grinch, I think green. But I was like, wait, no, I had that book. They're absolutely right. This came up on like a Watch Mojo YouTube video.
The whole
and I was
book
like,
is black and white.
Mind blown. He was not green until they made an animated special, which leads me to think that this could make a cute animated special. Like
that would be cute.
Like 20-minute thing on Disney Plus. I'm always down to add more to my Christmas.
Or
routine.
adding to the bedtime stories that are in the resort rooms.
That would be
I don't
fun.
always listen to them, but I like to see like what's on the lineup.
They're solid. I mean, and they very are picture book in quality. Like, I don't think they tie to actual picture books, but that is the art style. Like, the words are on the screen, minimal animation, it's pictures, and I don't think they rhyme, but they tell the stories.
Because that'd be a good one to add to the resorts.
Yeah, I would love to see some holiday varieties for those. Great thinking.
So as we wrap up here, there's a lot of additional resources. I don't think you would always think children's book, what else? But there's a lot here that you and I discovered that now we're down a rabbit hole of books and content that we're going to be consuming.
Yeah, you alluded to in your intro, this is not the only book that Joey Chou has illustrated. He's responsible for the Disney Press publication of It's a Small World that I mentioned. Of course, the text is the Sherman Brothers lyrics, but he has delightful illustrations to accompany that. He has illustrated for Little Golden Books, but not Disney, or if he did do Disney, they were not listed on his website, but he has several Little Golden Book series like I Am a Mermaid, I Am a Dragon. For Disney, he also did Finding Dory, Come Swim With Me, among many, many others, all listed on his website. So if you like this art style, it's abundantly clear throughout all of his work, whether it's Disney or not. And I think would be fun for people who might want to collect.
I want to reference Serena Valentino's Villain series because while you might pick this up for your child, a niece, a nephew, a friend's kid, you can pick up one of her other books for yourself. I think they're more young adult level, but such a cool series about Disney classic fairy tale villains, but it's from their point of view, their origin stories. It sounds very similar to me of like Twisted Tales, but instead of what if something changed, it's all from their point of view or their origin story. So if you're a fan of those types of series, you'll most certainly like the villains. And we haven't tackled the villain series on this show yet. So that might be something we need to start adding to our bookshelves.
Well, we are always happy to add to our bookshelves. And next episode, we will kick off season 7 of Book of the Mouse Club in January. And we'd like to thank our friends at Chronicle Books for giving us an early Christmas present with The Art of Disney Wish, which will be our first selection of 2024. So be sure to see Wish ahead of time because we will not be holding back on any spoilers as we discuss the art behind this fantastic film. In the meantime, you can keep up with Book of the Mouse Club at Book of the Mouse on Twitter/X and Instagram. Please be sure to leave us a review on iTunes so others can find our podcast and read and listen along with us. You can keep up with me, Courtney, on Instagram at Great Gutsby or on Twitter at Courtney_Guth.
And on both platforms, you can follow me, Emily, at Emily_McD. And Courtney, we're closing out season 7 and we get to have the closing quote. And it's your turn. So what did you want to share with us?
Well, I am going to close our episode with the opening line of this book that we've discussed. And that is, quote, "All around the world, children squealed with delight. Christmas is coming, they said, with smiles so bright," end quote. And our smiles are so bright thanks to you, dear listeners. We wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a joyous Kwanzaa, and look forward to joining you all again right here in the new year.
Have a happy holiday season, and we'll see you in 2024.
Book of the Mouse Club has no affiliation with the Walt Disney Company. The views and opinions expressed by hosts and participants are theirs and theirs alone. They do not represent the organizations or companies they happen to work for.